Greetings. This year's Charlemont theme, S.O.A.R, is an acronym for I strive to overcome adversities with resilience. What does it mean to strive? One definition says it is to make great effort to achieve or obtain something. To overcome means to succeed in dealing with or to defeat or to overpower or overwhelm. Adversity, in other words, difficulties or misfortunes. And resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. As an engineer, this particular definition speaks to me. The ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, its elasticity. How elastic are you? How resilient are you? That is the question we must ask ourselves. Charlemont High School's motto, striving for excellence, coincides well with this year's Charlemont's theme. Indeed, it has been inculcated in the minds of Charlemont High School students to strive for great things. It is made mention in our motto. And so it has always been a part of the mindset of students who leave Charlemont High School to do the best at whatever it is they do. I remember personally a poem that my mother and grandmother has always taught me. It goes something like this. If a task is once begun, never leave it till it's done. Be the labor great or small, do it well or not at all. In essence, if you have started the work, then you have to do it well, or don't take it up at all. If you know you're going to slack on it, don't take it up. But if you know you want to do it very well. It will speak to your character. People will look up to you. People will want to be around you, will work with you, because they know that you are a person who gives excellent work. This is a part of the resilience. This is a part of that building a foundation so that you can overcome adversities. This is a part of building character so that you can have the mindset so that when difficult situations come upon you, you are able to deal with them because 1, you are consistent. 2, you are determined. 3, you are result-oriented. Anyone who strives for excellence in what they do tend to build a strong foundation because it requires a strong foundation, a foundation of dedication, of commitment, of resilience to deliver excellent work. And so it is my belief that those of us who want to overcome adversities must strive for excellence. COVID-19 is the big issue for the past year and a half. Many of you have been adversely affected by it. Some people have to go online to learn. Some people are not able to go online to learn, and so they have difficulties keeping up with the lessons that are there for them to study. Unfortunately, this is the reality that we face. Some of us have had to work from home, those of us who are adults. Some of us have lost our jobs. Some of us, your parents, have lost their jobs and you're finding it difficult to survive. I will not be so flippant as to suggest that, hold on, it will be over soon. I would instead say to you that you should use various agencies and helps plans that are out there to overcome this adversity. The government has in place various programs. Schools have in place various programs. Churches. These are ways that you can build your resilience to overcome the difficulties that you are currently facing. Some people have been faced with the disease itself. Some people have been faced with loved ones being exposed to this disease. Unfortunately, some people have faced death of loved ones because of this disease. There is help available, and you can seek it out. Speak to your guidance counselor. Speak to your principal. Speak to your teacher. Let them point you in the right direction. This too is a part of building resilience. We tend to believe that resilience building is only a personal thing. But resilience building also involves asking help of others. The foundation upon which we build our success or our capacity to overcome is a consequence not only of our determination, but of the help that others give us. I remember back in my time, when I was in high school, I did not have all the financial resources that some people had to go to school. My mother was not a rich person. She had to work very hard to send us to school. But there were a plethora of people from whom we could seek help. Many of them are in Charlemont High School. Teachers who assisted, friends who assisted, neighbors in my community who assisted, family members. These are all a part of the resilience building process. These are all a part of the resilience building methodology. And so if we are to overcome adversities, then we must put in place these building blocks so our resilience can be strengthened and we can overcome adversities. Don't let anybody fool you into believing that you can do it alone. We all need help. We all must seek help. That way, we can overcome. I will give you a history of my progress through life up to this point that I am right now. I'll start with high school. As mentioned earlier, I was not the rich kid on the block. I had my difficulties, financial difficulties in coming to school, financial difficulties that prevented me getting certain resources that would be necessary to make my school years easier. But as I said, I sought help, my mother sought help, and that help gave me the capacity to go through school. But not only that, my determination as well was important in this. My determination to say to myself, okay, this is where I am. I sometimes go to my bed hungry. I sometimes want to buy something that, would be fun to buy, but I cannot because I do not have the financial resources to do that. And where I want to be is that I want to be able to buy something if I want it. That is where I want to be. I call it financial avalanche. That point in my life where I have so much money and so much investments that I do not need to work. It keeps making money for me and it keeps building on itself in such a way that I am not only comfortable but financially independent. So I wanted to move from one point to the next. How would I do that? What did I need to do to make sure that I am able to reach this point in my life? What was the plan of Jed Davis that would make him financially independent? I started off with education. That was the only course available to me at that time. Okay, so we'll do education. I went to school, put my head down, and ensured that I did what was necessary to advance to the next level of education. And so I did. I went on to the Caribbean Maritime Institute at that time, that was the name. Today it's Caribbean Maritime University, where I did an associate's degree in industrial systems operation and maintenance. I must say that I am proud that I graduated from that course with I graduated summa cum laude, if that's the pronunciation, with highest honors at the top of the class. I was proud of that achievement. That I did through student loan and through the help of my sisters, who one sent me enough money for my years at school, paid my boarding fee, and so on and so forth. One other decided to take care of books and so on and so forth. And I used students' loan to pay for the tuition. So I graduated there. I then went on to work with the Urban Development Corporation, specifically at the Jamaica Conference Center, where I spent a number of years. While there, however, I used it as a stepping stone to go further in my education and did a Bachelor of Engineering degree at the Caribbean Maritime University. Graduated at the top of the class again with another of my very good friend. We graduated with first class honors. So I used the money that I worked at the Jamaica Conference Center to pay for my bachelor's degree. So you see the progression. I moved from students' loan paying for my associate's degree to me working and paying for my bachelor's degree. Okay, so I'm at a bachelor's degree. I remember getting a call from an advisor at the Caribbean Maritime Institute that there was an opening at a power plant. They wanted candidates to work. So I went, I did an interview. I was successful. All right. I'm here. What is the next step? I worked there for a few years and then decided that, all right, a master's degree is appropriate at this time. So I used the money that I worked at the power plant to pay for a master's degree. Today I hold a Master of Business Administration and moved on to another job. That is the job that you see on my shirt now. New Fortress Energy. We supply liquefied natural gas to the power plants across the island. We also supply liquefied natural gas to various commercial entities across the island. I am currently working as an engineer in their gas field or their gas yards at the Jamalco plant. I provide fuel for the power plant there, and also fuel for Jamalco's boilers and for their power plant. It progressed, or my success, if you were, progressed over time. It did not happen overnight. It took years upon years of persistence. It took years upon years of building a foundation to make myself resilient in such a way that I could reach this level of success. I moved from the associate degree, or from no degree, as it were, to an associate degree, to a bachelor's degree, to a master's certification. Why? Because I chose to build my resilience so that whatever difficulties or adversities come upon me, I would be able to overcome them. Let us understand one thing. Success is not a fly-by-day thing or a fly-by-night thing. Success is through deliberate, calculated action. If you plan to be successful, then you had better be deliberate. You had better be calculating in your approach to life. See a goal or set a goal and strive for it. Set a goal, know what you need to do, build the foundation or the resilience so that you can overcome the difficulties and the adversities that come. I soar. I strove. I overcame through resilience the adversities that came my way, because there were many. Don't believe that it was a smooth running from the one to the other, and it will never be, but it is possible. It is very possible. The Chinese have a saying that where there is adversity, there is also opportunity. Because when all is said and done, the difficulty must be solved. Someone has to solve it. That someone has now been given an opportunity to be successful. Which one are you? Are you the person who's going to cry and cry and cry every day because woe is me? Everything is bad for me? Or are you going to be the person that cries and cries and cries and says, woe is me, but I am going to overcome? It can be difficult. And I would encourage you, gentlemen, if you need to go into your little corner and weep and moan and with the gnashing of teeth, do that. That too is a part of building resilience. Because your mind is now freed. Weeping and tears is very therapeutic. Cry, weep, bawl if you must. But do not be overcome by the difficulty. Rather, overcome the difficulty. When you weep, weep with the knowledge, weep with the assurance that you are going to work to overcome. Life can be a difficult thing, but life can also be a very pleasant thing. How do we experience the difference? We experience the difference by building resilience. We experience the difference by deliberate action to overcome. As an engineer, I believe in logical thinking, basing an argument on correct premises and drawing a conclusion, a correct conclusion based on this. But there is something you should learn. I'm teaching you this so that you will have tools to use in building your resilience. There's something about logic. Conclusions based on logical arguments can also be wrong. People do not generally know this. Why? One, if the premise, that is, the things or the evidence that you brought to the argument is incorrect, then the conclusion will also be incorrect. I give you an example. All men are dogs. I am a man. Therefore, I am a dog. Obviously, that is not true. Because, one, I'm certain I'm not a dog. Two, it is obvious I am not a dog. Three, I do not look like a dog. And experience tells me that I am not a dog. Therefore, the conclusion is wrong. So we must be careful how we make logical statements. Why do I say this? It is logical to conclude that if I am constantly bombarded with problems, then chances are I will not succeed in life. But is this true? Of course not. We have seen in many instances where people who have faced many difficulties come out on top. They overcome through their toughness and their resilience. So while it is logical to assume that difficulties will keep you down, experience can teach you that it is not always the case. Why is it not always the case? Because some of us decide to overcome by building a foundation of resilience. I put to you, gentlemen, that you should build this foundation so that any logical argument that comes at you that says that you should be on your back, constantly on the ground, weeping, moaning, gnashing of teeth, you can look at that argument and say, no, not today. Today, I soar. Today, I will strive to overcome adversities through resilience. Two more things I want to leave with you, gentlemen. The first one is this poem. My grandmother has been drilling this poem into our heads since I could remember myself. I looked it up on the internet to get the entire verses, but the important parts I remembered. It says, drive the nail aright, boy, hit it on the head. Strike with all your might, boys, while the iron is red. When you've work to do, boys, do it with a will. They who reach the top, boys, first must climb the hill. Standing at the foot, boys, gazing at the sky, how will you get up, boys, if you never try? Though you stumble oft, boys, never be downcast. Strive and strive again, boys. You shall succeed at last. That is one of the poems that has always been a part of me since time immemorial. Anytime I'm faced with difficulties, I remember that if I simply lie down on my back when I'm thrown down, looking up at the sky, wondering, how will I get up there? Just wondering and not taking action, I remember that I will never get up there. Those who reach the top first must climb the hill. You have to do work. You have to do work. So if you are to overcome adversities, building resilience suggests that there is some work being done. And so I suggest to you, I implore you to strike the nail aright. Strike the nail while it is red. It is red suggests you should take advantage of opportunities when they are given to you. So if the red comes in the form of someone offering you a job, strike. If the red comes in the form of you being the solver of a problem that came up for somebody else, strike. If the red comes in the form of you being downtrodden and seeing an opportunity to rise above that adversity, strike. The second or the third thing I want to leave with you. You must always have a plan. Short term, medium term, long term. Long term is that strategic plan that says, okay, by the time I am X, I should have X, Y, Z, and T. The medium-term plans are the things that you will put in place that will come X years down the line, 5 years down the line, that are the foundation for the long-term plan. The short-term plans are what you need to put in place to ensure that the medium-term plans can come to fruition. It includes, in all the stages, both medium, long, and short-term, a building of resilience. But you must have a plan. You cannot be like ship upon the sea, tossed to and fro by every wind. You have to have a plan. Work towards that plan. Plans can change, true, but at least you will have a plan and you will have something working towards. So put in place something regardless of which grade you are in, grade 7 or grade 12. Have a plan. If you are in grade 7, it is the best time to start. If you are in grade 12, it is never too late to start. Have a plan. You are young. People want to retire early in life, and it is very possible. But you must build a foundation to do that. If I was your age and had this kind of knowledge, I would have taken advantage of it at that time. Unfortunately, we were not exposed to this type of education, as it were. But you do not have that excuse. Today, you are exposed to a plethora of education. Information literally at your fingertips. It is the wise who do not have to be counseled. The wise will see, the wise will learn, the wise will do. It is my hope that as graduates or as students of Charlemont High School, you will be among the wise. Do, build, overcome, be resilient, be tough, and while being tough, pull someone along with you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And as usual, we are Charlemont High School, striving for excellence. Good evening.